So we're going to use a size 8 egg hook. This one here, it's a TMC 105 knockoff, I think. But it's a good hook. Use it for steelhead and use it for trout. Alright, we're going to use some pink thread on this one. We're going to tie up a pink Squirmy Wormy. So we're going to lay in a little bit of pink thread here. Wind it up, and we're going to wind it back. Snip off that excess. And a little spot in here, we're going to leave that open. Alright, that's where we're going to put our head at. We're going to put our whip finish out. Alright, we don't want to crowd that area. So, when you get your Squirmy Wormies, they kind of look like this. Alright, this is how they come, packaged like this. And you got to be careful with these. They don't do well in warm weather. Alright, they really don't. And they don't do well if you get head cement on them. It'll melt them up real quick. So I like pink, and then I like brown. With the pink ones, I'll put a pink breeding collar on it. Or you guys want to say it's a hot spot, call it a hot spot. That's the buzzword now, I guess. With the brown ones, the really wormy looking ones, I'll use an orange breeding collar on it, okay? So, once we lay our thread down there, we're going to get a little bit of dubbing. I'm going to use some flashy pink stuff here. It's a little bit lighter than what the worm is. Alright, get some of this on here. Don't need a lot. We're just going to lay a little bit down so that worm has something to bite into, to stick to. Alright, so there you go. That's all you need right there. Just that little bit there. Then, what we'll do is you take your Squirmy Wormy. I'm going to pluck one off. Alright, now if I'm fishing after a storm and the waters are up a little bit, I will use this full piece. Alright, so I'll tie some with a big full piece like this, and then I'll tie some where I fold that big piece in half, and I try and find the center point, even it out, get that center point, and then I snip it in half. And now I'm going to be able to tie 2 Squirmy Wormies with that, alright? So what you do is you're going to fold in half again, find that center point, and that's where we're going to tie it in on the hook. A lot of guys, when they tie these flies, they'll tie it straight on. And there's nothing wrong with that, alright? But I think when you do this, it kind of folds over on itself, and you'll have the 2 ends here, which is still wiggle and squiggle and look like a worm. But what I do is I tie it the same way I would fish my pink Berkeley worm. Alright, I use a longer hook on to fish my pink Berkeley worms, and then when I put it on so half's on one side and half's on the other. Alright? And then when it's all tied, you'll see it wiggles here, and then it wiggles here. So any little bit of water, any bit of movement in that water will make it wiggle on both sides. Alright? So we're going to do a pinch loop in the first one. And we're going to pull it down, and we're just going to wind it forward. Alright? Not super pressure. We don't need a lot of pressure here. Alright? We don't want to cut through that warming material. It's tough, but it's not super tough. Alright? Take one behind, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get this so that I got some hanging off the back side of the hook here, some hanging off the other side over here. Alright? A little bit on each side. So once I think I've accomplished that, and I start getting my dubbing, and I'll put that breeding collar on. Or the hot spot, whatever you feel comfortable calling it. I just say breeding collar because if you're out and you're looking for night crawlers at night, you can sometimes find them when they're breeding, and all those big night crawlers are breeding collars. It's that big, lightish, tannish collar that's on them. Alright, it's their breeding collar. Alright, so get some dubbing on there. I'm going to take one over the top, but then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go underneath twice. So I have some material behind this, so it's lifting it up. Alright? That way, to me, it takes it from sagging back and getting foul hooked. It's still going to get hooked down here every now and then, but that sets it up like a kitty cat's tail almost, right? See how it set it up there? Now it's sitting up high like a cat's tail. Alright? And again, it just wiggles and wiggles. And we're going to take that forward. Nice and gentle turns. You don't need to pull tight. Alright? And now watch, sometimes I got a little bit of pink, like right near there's a very small pink bubble. So I'm just going to get a little bit more dubbing. If you have a pink bubble, you can just put a little more dubbing on and go over it and cover it up. Doesn't matter, fish isn't going to care if that pink bubble is there or not. It's not going to matter one bit to him. Alright, I'm going to go forward. And I'm going to come underneath. And now I got it off to both sides. Alright, so take a couple more wraps underneath here. And I'm going to get my whip finisher. Normally I have a longer whip finisher, but this one's a tiny one. But it works just the same. 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll do 6. Alright, then I'm going to snip. And that takes care of that. Then I'm going to use a dab head cement. I like the Fly Tight by Fly Right. Alright, this stuff, there's no fumes to it, nothing like that. And as far as I've noticed over the years, it doesn't eat the color off the beads. Alright, but with this, because it's Squirmy Wormy, I think anything that touches that head cement wise it wants to deteriorate it and it'll eat it up. So what I do is I turn the fly over and then I just get a little bit on there and I just put a little dab underneath her. That's it, just to cover it underneath. And then that's all she wrote on that, okay? You don't want this stuff touching Squirmy Wormy. The material, it'll hold up to a fish, but like I said, if it gets warm, they get nasty. They're not nice when they get warm, okay? So you gotta be careful with these things. But there you go, Squirmy Wormy. And see, I got some off one side, some off the other, so they both wiggle and diggle, opposite directions. All right, looks cool. And trout will eat them up. Even wild trout will eat them up. Caught a lot of wild brown trout on these, which I guess that's sad to say, because who wants to catch a wild brownie on a Squirmy Wormy? But if it has fins and it swims, I'm more than happy to catch it. And if I need to use a Squirmy Wormy or an egg pattern, so be it. I'm going to use it. All right, tie some up. Go catch some of those big rainbow trout, some big brownies that are stocked in the Keystone Select trout waters, and then send me a picture. I want to see a picture of a big fish that you caught in a Squirmy Wormy. All right, again, Vin's Bug Shop, 2B Underwater Guide Service. Thanks for watching. Simple fly. Have fun.